House of Representatives, House Chamber, and welcome to the JGO committee meeting. Quorum has been established. I hereby call this JGO committee meeting to order. It is Thursday, July 1st, 10:04 a.m. The meeting has been called to order. Our agenda today was published on June 25th, 2021 in compliance with the Open Government Act. And if there are no objections from the members, I would like to modify the agenda a little bit. We are going to skip items 3A, B, C, D, and E on the agenda if there are no objections from the members. I hereby recognize the Vice Chair, Representative BJ Acto, for the proper motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we adopt today's agenda as modified by the chair. So moved.
Motion has been made. It has been seconded. Are there any discussions on the motion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Today's agenda with minor modifications has been duly adopted. Before proceeding with any statements from the public or any members of the JGO committee members, I would like to take care of some housekeeping rules. I would like to ask that everyone please put your phones on silent mode and adhere to the COVID protocols in place. There are sanitizers located throughout the chamber for anybody's use. Thank you. At this time, I would like to open the floor for public comments. And for those of you who are going to be making public comments, please state your name for the record, and you will be given 5 minutes for your comments. There are none that I see. Are there, at this time, I would like to ask any member of the committee if they would like to make any statements. There are none. We will proceed. Before we proceed, I would like to make some short comments. I would like to explain why witnesses have been summoned here before the committee. You are here before the committee because the 22nd House of Representatives has opened the investigation into the expenditures of public funds by Governor Ralph de Leon Guerrero Torres. You are here in relation to your duties. This committee is authorized by the CNMI Constitution to review, inspect, examine, and conduct oversight and investigations and recommend reforms into the executive or judiciary branches of our government and its agencies. For the purposes of this investigation, the terms executive security detail, personal security detail, protective service detail, protective security detail, security detail, bodyguard, and PSDs are interchangeable and shall mean an armed or unarmed individual assigned to provide 24-hour protection to Governor Torres and or Mrs. Diane Tudela Torres. I will now introduce you to the members of this committee. To my left, I have the Vice Chair, Representative BJ Atto. To my far left, I have Representative Donald Magnolia, representing Rhoda. To his right, we have Representative Tina Sablan, representing Precinct 2. And to her right, Representative Ed Probst, representing Precinct 1. To my far right, I have Representative Richard Lazama, representing Precinct 5. And to his immediate left is Representative Vicente Camacho, representing Precinct 3. At this time, I would like to call the first witness, Police Officer Jomelyn Galasho. Please Will the Sergeant at Arms escort her in? Thank you. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the presence of witness two, Miss Bernie Palacios and her counsel. May we ask you to please come back at 2:30 this afternoon? Thank you. Officer Galasho, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Galasho, may I ask you to please rise and take the oath of office? Counsel? Oath.
Ms. Jomelyn Galasio, do you solemnly swear, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You may sit down. At this time, I would like to recognize Representative Donald Manglonia.
Roger.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Officer Galasho. Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Jomelyn Galasio. Gelacio.
Excuse me, Representative, may I ask you, you may take your mask off when you're speaking into the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Officer Galasho. What is your current occupation? Sorry, can you turn the mic on? Can you repeat that?
I am a police officer, one from Department of Public Safety, sir.
Thank you. On June 17th, you received a letter, not a subpoena, as a courtesy to provide testimony before this committee on June 23rd, 2021. You responded on June 22nd, a day before the scheduled meeting, requesting for 30 days. Do you recall that letter?
Yes, sir.
And who prepared your response to that June 17th letter?
I had assistance with Attorney Hines.
Did anyone ask you to sign that letter?
No.
And were you responsible for delivering that letter to the legislature?
Yes, sir.
Did you also deliver the response letters of the SAA, Ms. Matilde Rosario, and the Chief of Finance Services, Ms. Bernie Palacios, to the legislature?
No, sir.
Neither one of those?
No, sir.
Were you advised to deliver your letter to the legislature?
Yes.
And by who?
Attorney Hines.
And you are here today with counsel, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Who is your counsel, for the record?
Attorney Anthony Ogden.
Do you have a letter of representation from the Attorney General's office?
Do I have to provide a copy? Okay. Sir? I don't know. No, sir.
Are you personally responsible for the payment of services to your counsel on record?
No, sir.
Who is paying for your counsel?
Department of Public Safety, sir.
So it wasn't the governor's office or the attorney general's office?
No, sir.
And do you know why is that?
May I respond?
I'm sorry, counsel.
May I respond? The reason being is because the AG conflicted
Hold
out.
up, hold up. You're here as an advisor to Ms. Galasho. She is the witness that these questions are directed to. And you do not have the authority to respond for her unless recognized.
Okay, then I would have to object because this is beyond the scope of the subpoena that she was brought here for. She was brought here specifically to talk about travel
You-
performed.
Duly noted, your objection is duly noted, but please direct your witness to answer the question.
Sir, can I have you repeat the question?
Do you know why is it that why DPS is paying for your counsel and not the Office of Attorney General or the governor's office?
Because I was denied or I was told to seek private guidance because it will be a conflict of interest if I do reach out to the attorney of or the AG's office.
Private counsel, but this is paid for by DPS, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chair. I yield.
Thank you, Representative Magnolia. Before we proceed with the next line of questioning, may I ask if you have your service weapon on you today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And it's secured away from the
Yes,
building.
ma'am.
Thank you. At this time, I would now like to recognize Representative Richard Lizama.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and good morning. May I repeat your name again? May you repeat your name again, please?
My name is Jomelyn Galasho.
Thank you, Galasio. My first question is, prior to being a police officer, who was your former employment?
Can I answer that?
Again, I must object. This is not related to the subpoena. The subpoena she was brought here for was to talk about travel performed on behalf of the CNMI government, and these questions have
Thank you,
nothing to do
counsel.
with travel.
We are talking about her duties as PSD and her duties as a police officer, and it is in line with the questioning of her employment.
Her previous employment has to deal with her PSD employment?
It
that-
is her employment in general.
And again, Chairwoman, the subpoena she was brought here for was to discuss travel performed on behalf of the CNMI.
Point of order,
government.
Madam Chair.
Recognize Representative Tina Sablan.
I'd like to request that we reiterate for our witnesses, counsel, that he is not the witness we have summoned today, and to just be reminded, with respect, that that the questions are being directed to the witness, and she is under subpoena to answer these questions. And if the members of this committee want to exercise our prerogative to establish some foundational questions as to her background and her experience related to her duties as PSD, that is, again, within our prerogative. I yield.
Thank you, Representative Tina. I would like to recognize Representative Ed Probst.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Officer Galasio, for coming in today, for so forthcoming in your testimonial. I know it could be nerve-wracking to come in for this committee hearing, and we truly appreciate the service, your fine service in coming here and being forthcoming again. At this point, Madam Chair and colleagues, I would like to ask some questions with something that transpired recently. If I may, do we have the Sergeant at Arms here? If you can pass this, Sarge, to Officer Galasio.
Before we proceed, Representative Ed, I think Representative Richard still
Okay.
had the line of questioning.
I apologize.
I was
I will-
recognizing you with respect to the council's Objection.
Oh, I apologize. My apologies. I will duly noted. I seconded Representative Tina Sablon's motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, again, you are reminded that the questions are directed to the witness and that there are no, you have to be recognized in order to speak, in order to raise any objections. And it is the prerogative of this committee whether to recognize you for any objections or any concerns you may have.
If I may respond, Chairwoman?
You may not. Representative Richard Lazama, you may proceed.
Chair, this is one of the issues that we brought with your council. There's no rules and regulations on how to proceed with this committee. And I
Thank
didn't
you,
hear that
Council.
before.
We have the constitutional authority. We have the statutory authority to conduct these investigations. And we have the House rules that we follow. And the rules that we follow are the Constitution, related statutes, and the House rules. Thank you.
And the House rules are
Representative
silent
Lizama.
as to the procedures for subpoenas. And further, it's my duty as an attorney for Ms. Galasio to preserve her constitutional rights.
Objection. Council is disrupting this proceeding. Madam Chair.
Representative Richard Lozama, you may proceed.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Once again, I'm going to ask the same question. Number one, prior to being a police officer, who was your former employment?
My former employer before I became a police officer was High Regency Saipan. Is that your question, sir?
How long have you been in your current position?
As a police
Police
officer,
officer.
one. About 5 years.
When did you graduate from the police academy?
I graduated August 1st, sir, of 2016.
What cycle? Do you remember?
21st cycle, sir.
Are you the security detail of the governor or Mrs. Diane Torres?
I was the former PSD for First Lady Diane Torres.
How does your principal get assigned?
I'm sorry, sir. Can you please kindly repeat your question?
How does your principal get assigned?
Sir, sorry, I don't understand.
Let me try to ask it in a different way. How does it come about that Mrs. Diane Torres was assigned to you, or for you to be the PSD for Mrs. Torres? Who assigns these? How is it selected within DPS?
I was asked by a colleague if I was interested in being on standby for First Lady.
And who is that colleague?
So do I have to answer that? Do I have to answer that? That would be Joanna Lynn Lanizu.
Thank you. You may proceed, Representative Lizama.
Probably already answered this, but how does your, I'm sorry, who assigned you to be an executive security detail?
Sir, are you asking if I'm sorry, can you please repeat your question?
Who assigned you to be an executive security detail?
Miss First Lady Diane Torres asked me if I was ready to become her PSD, sir.
how did you know, I'm sorry, how did you come to know Ms. Diane Tudela Torres and Governor Ralph Torres that you will be entrusted by the Commissioner of Public Safety to be assigned as an executive security detail?
Sorry, sir, one more time.
How did you come to know Ms. Diane Tudela Torres and Governor Ralph Torres that you will be entrusted by the Commissioner of Public Safety to be assigned as an executive security detail?
Sir, I don't know, sir.
How long were you detailed or assigned as a security detail for Governor Torres or Mrs. Diane Torres?
1 year, sir.
Why were you eventually replaced or removed as a security detail?
I have no knowledge, sir.
Was it because you didn't perform your job well?
I don't believe so, sir.
Was it because you weren't loyal?
I don't believe so, sir.
During your brief assignment as a security detail, how many others were assigned with you?
I'm sorry, one more.
During your brief assignment as a security detail, how many others were assigned with you?
For the first lady,
First Lady.
just 2, sir.
Which department or government agencies were they from?
DPS, sir.
Are there from airport police?
No, sir.
Are there any from customs?
During my time that I was serving first lady, no, sir.
Were you ever a student of Mrs. Diane Torres while she was a teacher at Saipan Southern High School?
No, sir.
I yield back. That's the end of my question, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lizalma. I would like to recognize Representative Vicente Camacho at this time.
Thank you, Chair. And good morning to you, officer. How are you?
Good, sir.
Okay. Besides your police academy training, what security detail, certification, or qualification training have you had?
No training, sir.
Okay. So with that said, to be a security detail goes through a lot of intense training. Um, so let me just ask one question. Have you trained tactical weapons training? Tactical weapons training?
For
Have you been trained that?
PSD, sir?
Mm-hmm.
No, but in our academy, we were taught a few tactical classes.
Okay. Have you had any evasive driving training techniques?
During our academy, yes, sir.
Have you had any hand-to-hand combat training?
During our academy, yes, sir.
Have you had any counterintelligence training? Or counter surveillance training? Have you had any risk assessment training?
Sir, I'm sorry, I don't understand your questions.
To be a protective service detail, these are some of the minimum training that you must have. And even when it is being provided in an academy, it normally would be a separate certification that otherwise says so. So let me ask one more. Any medical trauma training in case your principal is injured?
No, sir.
Okay. So aside from providing security services, what other duties do you perform for Governor Torres or Ms. Diane Torres?
Um, we or we drive her around. We assure that her safety at a location that we arrive is secured. We assure that she has the much assistance as she can that we can give her. Um, I don't know what else, sir.
Okay. Does your duty as PSD include picking up or dropping off the children of Governor Torres or Ms. Diane Torres to and from school?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever dropped off or picked up the Torres children from school or after school activities?
I'm sorry, one more time, sir.
Have you ever dropped off or picked up the Torres children from school or after school activities?
Yes, sir.
Do your duties as PSD include grocery shopping for the Torres household?
I don't believe so, sir.
Have you traveled with Governor Torres and Ms. Diane Torres anywhere within the cinema or outside of the cinema?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever traveled with Governor Torres or Ms. Torres by boat to Tinian, Rhoda, or Guam?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever witnessed Ms. Torres attend a cabinet meeting?
I don't believe so, sir.
Have you ever witnessed her attend one cabinet meeting while you were assigned as her security detail?
I don't recall, sir.
Okay. I yield. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Representative Camacho. I would like to recognize Representative Ed Probst at this time.
Thank you, Chairman. And again, thank you, Officer Galacio. I do have a few questions for you, and at this point, could I call Sergeant at Arms once again, or did he did he already pass this? And I will be providing these copies to you and your legal counsel appearing with you today. And John, if you could pull this up on our screens so that we could view it. I have already given copies of this document to my colleagues. That 2 copies goes to. Yeah. 2 copies. Okay.
Short recess.
Thank you.
Back from recess, recognize Representative Ed Probst.
Thank you, Chairman. And now that we may continue, as you, Officer Galacio, see before you, this is a non-disclosure agreement form document appearing before you. It's also up here on the screen. Before I begin explaining why are you even looking at this in the first place, let me give you just a little background, if that's okay. On June 23, or within that week, several officers from the Department of Public Safety reached out to myself and some of my colleagues, and were very deeply concerned about this NDA that was being passed out. I want you to know that this committee was also very concerned about it. We were very shocked because of the timing and the one-sidedness of this NDA. Furthermore, officers were being told, these are frontline officers, were being mandated and told that they had to sign this. Some of them were even told that it came from the Office of the Attorney General, which was deeply concerning. And we had a discussion with the Attorney General, to which he said that this did not originate or come from the Office of the Attorney General. The reason why this committee was deeply concerned was how this may impact or interfere with our investigation. The fact that you are here today and being so forthcoming again is testimony to um, your priorities and your duties to serve respectfully and with great honor. And we appreciate that. I also want you to know that you will not be the only person to be asked these questions with regard to this NDA. Any officers coming forward at this point that may be subpoenaed or asked to testify before this committee will also be asked these questions so that we can get a better understanding of how this came to be and if it has any impact on anyone's testimony as yours or any of your fellow officers. At this point, Madam Chair and colleagues, I'd like to start with just a few questions with regard to this document, if I may. Officer Galacio, did you, in your duty, receive this NDA, the one before you, or something similar, the one handed to you and appears on the screen? Were you in receipt of this? Did somebody from the department give this to you and ask you to sign this NDA?
I was aware of the NDA form, but no, sir, I didn't sign it.
Okay, thank you. So somebody did give it to you and ask you to sign it. Is that correct?
They showed me the document, sir.
Okay, okay. But this came from within the department? Did this come from a supervisor of yours that asked you to sign this?
I went to a chief Manicop and he showed me the document, sir.
Okay. Did he ask you at that point to sign it?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Do you know by any chance who created this NDA or how it came to be?
No, sir.
Okay. With regard to your testimony for today, has anyone met with you to try to influence you with regard to your questions today, with regard to your answers, rather?
No, sir.
Okay. Did the First Lady or the Governor or the Commissioner, any of them try to influence you with your testimony today?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you or do you know of any of your colleagues have any concern about any possible retaliation for your testimony today or any other officers that may be called in to testify?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Okay. Okay. And just for the record, no one has threatened, coerced, or tried to intimidate you from answering any questions today. Is that correct? You're here on your own will. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I appreciate again your honesty and coming in today, Officer Galacio. I salute you. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, at this time I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Ed Probst. At this time, I will ask questions of you related to your travel. You've already earlier attested that you have traveled with Governor Torres and Mrs. Diane Torres, either by boat or by aircraft. Thank you for that. And other related matters. Officer Galasho, have you ever witnessed Governor Torres or Mrs. Diane Torres commit any illegal acts?
Not to my knowledge, ma'am.
Have you yourself, when you were assigned as a PSD, ever committed any illegal acts?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I would now like to take a short recess to pull up some documents. Thank you. We are now back from recess after making copies of your travel documents. Ms. Galasho?
Chair, if I may.
Yes, Council.
I'd like to apologize for interrupting earlier, but as I stated earlier, I want to preserve my client's constitutional and statutory rights to counsel and the right to zealously represent her. So if we can establish that I can make objections before or a standing objection as to any questions outside the scope of the subpoena, and just to preserve my objections on record, I would appreciate that from the council, the committee.
Thank you. Duly noted. But the subpoena also says on other related matters. Thank you, Council.
Would you like me to respond to that?
No.
So are you not allowing me to speak on behalf of my client?
You can make the standing objection, but as far as answering questions, the questions are directed to the witness.
Okay, so just to be clear, before she answers, I can give my standing objections.
Yes.
No disrespect to the.
Are there any objections from the members? No objections.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, just a point of clarification. If I may.
Yes, recognize.
I don't object for now to council retaining the ability to raise standing objections, but I would also like to retain our ability to object if he does appear to be disrupting this proceeding. Our rules also allow us to maintain order and decorum when we are conducting our legislative investigations. And so I'd like to state that for the record as well.
Thank you, Representative Tina.
And if I also may pose some questions to the witness at this time before we go into your line of questioning, just to clarify some parts of her earlier testimony.
Thank you, recognized.
Thank you. Good morning, Officer Galasho. Thank
Morning.
you for being present today and for your cooperation in today's proceeding. I just had a few questions regarding some of your earlier statements. You stated that the Attorney General declined to provide legal representation for you in this proceeding. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also stated that the Department of Public Safety has retained special counsel to represent you today. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did the Attorney General authorize DPS to retain special counsel for you?
No, I don't know, ma'am.
You don't know. So even a verbal authorization, you're not aware as to whether he actually approved for the department to provide you with legal service today.
I'm not so sure, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And then would you please just state the full name for the record of the attorney who assisted you in the drafting of your letter to the committee on June 22nd?
That would be Attorney Kimberly Hines.
Kimberlyn Hines. And in what capacity was Ms. Hines assisting you in that drafting of the letter?
I'm sorry, one more time, ma'am.
In what capacity was Ms. Hines assisting you? Was she your private counsel?
At the time being, yes, ma'am.
She was your private counsel. So
At the time.
you were paying her yourself.
No, the department, sorry. The department would be I'm sorry, ma'am. My attorney Attorney Elgin was off island, so Mrs. Hines assisted or covered for him while he was off island.
I see. So the Department of Public Safety was also providing legal services through Ms. Hines for you. Is that correct?
I don't know, ma'am.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did Ms. Hines provide such assistance to any other witnesses called by this committee?
I'm not so sure, ma'am.
Did you provide a template of your letter to the other witnesses that were called by this committee?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And did any other attorney assist you in responding to the committee's request?
Not that I know, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. And then just to get some further clarification on how you became the personal security officer assigned to the First Lady, you said that a colleague at the Department of Public Safety asked you if you were interested?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then Ms. Torres asked you if you were ready to be her personal security officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what happened? How did you actually officially become the personal security officer?
We signed some documents for me to be First Lady's PSD.
Okay, and what document was that?
I believe that's um that application from HR where I had to transit to from a PO1 to be the PSD for First Lady Diane Torres.
I see. So it was like a notice of personnel action?
Something like that.
Something
I
like
believe.
that? Okay. And is there a description anywhere of the official duties and responsibilities that pertain to personal security officers?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Is there a description of the official duties and responsibilities that pertain to personal security officers for the First Lady or for the Governor?
Yes, ma'am.
There is one.
Yes, it's in my application.
So it's part of your NOPA,
Yes.
correct? Okay. And are there any standard operating procedures that pertain to personal security officers?
I don't recall.
Okay, so no SOPs with the Department of Public Safety.
I'm not so sure, ma'am.
Okay. During your tenure as PSD, were you assigned only to the First Lady or also to the Governor?
For the 1 year that I was with First Lady,
Yes, ma'am.
just to First Lady.
Okay. And what year was that you were assigned to her?
2019.
Just 2019. Okay. And when you traveled with the First Lady, was that always in the company of the Governor?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Do you recall any specific trips that you took with her where it was not in the company of the Governor?
The trip to the Philippines.
Trip to the Philippines. And that was when?
Am I allowed to check the dates? Because I don't really recall.
So it was that trip. Okay, we
I
can get to
guess.
that. Okay. And that's the only trip that you took just with the First Lady, not with the Governor?
Does that include the boat rides to Tinian and those things?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. And then going to your earlier testimony about some of the other duties and responsibilities that you had, you stated that you dropped off the Taurus children to and from school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you assist the First Lady with any other errands?
Not to my knowledge.
No other personal errands?
I don't believe so, ma'am.
What about babysitting?
No.
What about assisting with her foundation, the Diane Torres Foundation?
Yes.
You did provide assistance with the foundation?
Yes.
And what kind of assistance?
Maybe just loading some equipments.
Loading some equipment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Could you elaborate on that a little more?
Maybe loading like boxes of shirts, supplies, maybe just office stuff, maybe.
Okay. So general office errands for the First Lady's Foundation.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And she would ask you to do these things.
Yes.
And was it your understanding when you accepted your assignment as a personal security officer for the First Lady that your duties and responsibilities would include driving the First Lady around
Yes.
and also picking up her children from school and taking them to school?
I believe so, ma'am.
You believe that that was your understanding, that that's what
Um,
your duties would include?
Assisting the First Lady, yes.
Okay. And assisting her foundation?
Yes, ma'am.
You also understood that that would be part of your duties and responsibilities?
Just assisting her like around, yes.
Okay. Was part of your training to become a personal security officer, did somebody sit down with you and say, these types of duties are included in your job description as her personal security officer?
Ma'am, can you kindly repeat your question?
Yes, sure. Um, Before you became her personal security officer, the personal security officer for the First Lady, was it your understanding that your duties and responsibilities would include things like driving her around, um, running errands for her foundation, babysitting her children?
Mm, not really babysitting her kids, ma'am, but I believe escorting her to her locations.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Okay. Or picking up her children from school.
yes,
I
assistant.
misspoke. Okay. Okay. But did somebody actually sit down with you and say to explain to you that these would be your responsibilities?
No.
No. Okay. It was just you just understood that you would assist the First Lady with whatever she asked of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you mentioned that there were two other officers who were assigned to the First Lady during your tenure in 2019?
Officially will be just me and another colleague.
Okay. And who was that other colleague who served with you?
That will be Janika Atlik.
Janika Atulik. So it's just the two of you assigned during that year to the First Lady.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you provide security 24/7?
No, ma'am.
When were your hours of security?
We had shifts, so we either take morning shift and then night shift or noon shift.
Okay. And then so you provided 16 hours of security a day? Is that how that works?
I don't recall the hours, but usually from the morning to maybe one or two, and then the weekends will be we'll discuss about who's taking which weekend. So
I see. Okay. So did you incur overtime then?
yes,
You did. Okay. Um, Thank you. Thank you for answering those clarifying questions, and I yield for now, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Tina. At this time, we will go into your documents. Officer Galasho, can we please put up TA number 341986 on the screen? Thank you. That's it. Can we scroll down to the bottom with a signature? Is that Officer Galasho? Is that your signature there on the travel voucher?
yes, ma'am.
Can we, you have a copy of these documents. Can you pull out the exhibit marked as number 1 and take a look at it? Is this your travel voucher and subsequent documents, the travel authorization, the boarding passes, or no, that's not, that's by boat. Did you perform this travel?
Yes, ma'am.
And you performed it by boat, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see any typographical errors on those documents? If there are, can you point it out to me?
Ma'am, can you elaborate more, please?
Do you see any typographical error, like a misspelling of your name, misspelling of Saipan, Guam, any typographical errors?
Not that I can tell, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
Not that I can tell.
Okay, to the best of your knowledge, the time, the dates of your travel are correct?
Sorry, ma'am, I don't remember the dates when I traveled or went to Guam.
It's on your TA. Is that the date you traveled? It's also written in your trip report? Did you write that trip report?
No, ma'am.
Can we go to the trip report, please?
Yeah, I didn't write it. But I didn't write it. I don't know who it is, but it's.
Officer Galasho, is that your signature on the trip report?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
But you're saying you didn't write that trip report. Is that correct?
Ma'am, I was assisted in drafting this report.
Who assisted you? Can you give me a name?
Ma'am, I don't remember who drafted my or assisted me in drafting my report, ma'am.
Can you read that to yourself? Can you read that trip report and tell me if it is an accurate um, statement to that particular travel to Guam?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's a fairly accurate, or it is accurate account of what transpired during your trip to Guam from June 21st to the 23rd of 2018.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, Your travel authorization, the second page after the travel voucher, states your travel is from June 21st to the 24th. However, your trip report says you traveled from June 21st to the 23rd. Is that accurate?
Sorry, ma'am, but I don't exactly remember the dates when we left and came back.
You earlier testified that the trip report that you signed was accurate. Is that correct? Yes.
Ma'am, can you repeat your question?
Okay, on your travel authorization, TA number 341986, if you look to line item number 12, it says the period of travel, June 21, 2018, ending on or about June 24, 2018. However, your trip report, you stated that on June 21st, you traveled to Guam and you left Guam on June 23rd, a day short of what it states on your TA. We're trying to establish the accuracy of these documents. So in order to proceed with the next line of questioning.
Ma'am, the TA states ending on or about June 24th. And then we arrived here on June 23rd.
Fair enough. That's what we wanted to establish, which one was the correct date you departed Guam. Thank you. Okay. Can I direct your attention, Officer Galasho, to line item number 10 on your travel authorization, purpose and remarks? In that box, it says, and I will direct your attention to the last sentence in that box. It says travel will be by boat. Officers will depart Saipan at 6 a.m. on June 21, 2018, and return on June 24, 2018 at 3 p.m. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Ma'am, I don't recall the dates when we did arrive, but according to this document, it did state we arrived here the 23rd. But this on line 10, I don't really recall or don't know what's this about.
Thank you, but you do recall making this trip, right? By boat?
Yes, ma'am.
And who prepared your travel authorization?
Ma'am, I don't know who did my TA.
Okay, can we scroll down a little bit, please, council? Or whoever has control of the Almo? Further down on the signature. Who is the requester? Whose signature is that? No, line item 26.
That'll be the commissioner, sir, for DPS.
And who is the commissioner of DPS?
Robert Guerrero, ma'am.
Do you know if he prepared your TA?
No knowledge, ma'am.
Does he normally prepare TAs for any police officers?
I'm not so sure, ma'am.
And who approved it? Line item 28, please.
Governor Torres.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to call for a recess for lunch break, if that's, if there's no objections from the members, and then we will further go into this travel document with you when you return from lunch. We will take a break until 1:30. Would you please return at 1:30 with your counsel?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Are there any objections from the, can I get a motion for a recess, please? Thank you. A motion has been made and has been seconded. Are there any discussions on the motion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. We will resume this hearing at 1:30 this afternoon. Thank you.